it with food.
Okay, but you can't bring food in here.
I gave up all my food.
What were you asking me?
I
So
haven't
Mr.
had
Racy is a
dinner
red shirt.
or lunch, basically. And I have to drive into a really bad motion sickness, and I wish I had something to drink. And the only reason why I have this is
But yeah, the competition's there. So what you'll see is they're it's about half the size of a basketball.
Facebook. All right. So my name is Corey Oltrogi. This is Steve Racy. We're the two coaches for Hawkins Prime. I was planning on being up here at the end and not the beginning, but I am killing time. Because, like all things Hawkins Prime, we like to cut things down to the very wire. So, we're going to just talk a little bit about the team and the competition this weekend coming up. So, the first thing that I want to tell everyone is that our goal this season was to really build a community with this team. And by any measure of our goals, so far this season, I'd say we're very successful. We've had an awesome season so far. These students have been amazing. I can't say enough about what these kids have been able to accomplish this year. They've been through a lot, especially the last few weeks. I also want to give a big thank you to all of our mentors that are on the team. Picking them out of the crowd, we've got Chris Jackson down here who helps out a lot. We've got Jim Tingler, who's been here all the time. We've got Dan Kelly, who is our youngest at-heart mentor. Dan's been with the team 14 years now? Quite a while. Too long to count. We love Mr. Kelly. We've also got two new people that have joined us that I see out here. We've got Jim Campbell that's been helping out a whole bunch. Jim helped us build the game pieces that the kids will be practicing with. So the elements of the game that they need to interact with their robot, he was generous enough to take his time and materials and build those for us. So, after the presentation and the reveal, if you get a second, you can go out to, or go into the media center and you can see the pieces that he built for us. Who else am I missing?
Amelia.
Oh, yes, thank you, Amelia. Hiding down here in the front. Amelia Brenner has also been helping us. She is our youngest mentor on the team. Always makes old dad jokes to the rest of us. We appreciate you very much.
We do.
And the person who just bailed me out there was Jonathan Benamacosa, who's been helping out a bunch this year. So, an awesome story about Jonathan. He stepped in and I said, hey man, that CNC machine doesn't work and we need it to work and I don't know how to make it work. And within a week, he had it up and running. And we used that CNC machine more this year than we've ever used it before. That thing ran almost nonstop for the last 5 weeks. Almost every part of that robot got cut with that CNC machine, which was incredible. So thank you for that. We also have a new mentor over here. Charlie. Yes, Charlie, thank you. He's very new to the team. They just moved here from California, right? Is that right? He's going to be helping out with programming stuff that we've got going on. So he's been jumping in a little bit. Hope to see more of you. Do you want to say anything?
Corey likes to talk. So for comp this weekend, we're going to be at a high school, as opposed to some of our bigger venues. We get to use the arenas of the colleges. But when we're in a high school venue, there's not that many seats. So First always has a thing where you can't save seats. So you go in, you go out, like you don't leave your chair in there, especially when we're in a high school venue. There's not even enough room in there to get all the people in there. So when we're at Chapel Hill High School, you might want to download the app, the Blue Alliance, and that'll tell you can look up 3229, you can search for teams, and it'll tell you like what time your match is. So if your match was at 10:15, you go in at 10:15, you sit down, you watch the match, and then we all got to get out of there because 6 teams go at a time. And you figure 6 teams of 25 kids, if they each had 2 parents, I'm the math teacher. So that just sounds like a lot of people. Actually, I do teach math, but that still sounds like a lot of people. So we got to get out so they can get in. So that's got to rotate in those smaller venues. If we happen to make it to states and you get in one of the college arenas, you still can't save seats, but there's generally a lot of room in there. If you're wondering what the kids have been up to, they picked a design this year. They want to pick something different. So one of the things that they focused on was, could we lean into the engineering a little bit and build smaller, faster, and lighter? So normally your max chassis dimensions are 30 by 30. They went 27 by 27, which doesn't sound like much, but that's a lot of real estate in the bottom of the robot. So we literally spent, I don't know, Mr. Kelly, was it like 4 hours that one day trying to figure out how to fit a battery into a 27 by 27? Because as soon as you move the battery, it cascades to every other piece in the robot, and then it didn't fit. So that was about 4 hours. So we've done constantly as we're going through these iterations of plates that we cut for, I don't even want to say what the parts are, but plates we were cutting on the CNC, there's a stack of plates that's probably this high. This is version 1, this is version 2, this is version 3, this is version 4, this is version 5, this is version 6, this is version 7, this is version 8, this is version 9, let's go one out of Flexi, and it's the wrong size. Let's do version 10 and version 11. So they've been doing that all these weekends, and then you only have roughly a little less than 2 months to build this robot. And we spent about a week and a half, 2 weeks, going through an engineering process and a Pew analysis to see what the best ideas were to build this robot. And then we come up to, we've got like 2 weeks left. So last weekend, not last weekend, the weekend before that, we did 3 days when everybody was like taking the long break. We did 3 days, 44 hours. And then this last weekend, we did 2 days, 30 hours. So the kids have been building this robot. They've been putting in some crazy time to try to meet this deadline. And so this evening we have, what we do this evening, we test the robot out a little bit, we burn up a motor real quick, so then we got a chance to replace some parts, work on a little pit crew replacement. So they've been working super, super, super hard. Other things about comp that they would like us to say is police your own garbage, because we are in such a small venue and we should do that anyway. So all the teams get garbage bags, but like if you've got a water bottle or you've got something, just make sure if you took it in, you bring it out. Corey has a list and he likes to talk.
True coach.
I do have a list. I learned from the best. My wife taught me. She also helped mentor this year too. She was heavily involved at the beginning of the season. So she was my mentor, and I learned to make lists from her. One last shout out. So all that time that Mr. Racy just talked about, that the kids were here, burning midnight oil, getting this bot ready, he's been here for every minute of that. So I just want to give him a because without him, we can't be in the school, we don't have a team here. And he's been here for every minute of the whole thing. So the rest of us have been rotating through, not Steve. Steve's been here the whole time. It's pretty awesome. So I appreciate that very much. All right. So like Steve said, there's no seat saving at the competition. But I do want to run through the schedule here quick. I know it's a little bit blurry. I think we put a link, Jonathan sent the link out on Dan. And I'll shoot an email out too. But we go tomorrow or Friday night to load in for our pits. So we'll take the robot, we'll set pits up on Friday night. And then Saturday morning is when everything starts. So the team will get there around 8 o'clock in the morning. So for those of you bringing students, 8 o'clock is when we get started. That reminds me, the expectation is that parents are responsible for getting your students to the competition, whether that be lining up a ride for them, getting them there yourself. If it's your choice to have them drive, that's fine too. But ultimately, we are not transporting people unless you ask us and they need a ride, and we can work something out. That's the schedule on Saturday. So the way it typically goes in the morning, there's a lot of ceremonies, getting things started, drivers' meetings, things like that. In the mid-morning is when matches actually begin. There's a lunch break, then matches resume in the afternoon. These are qualifying matches that everybody is playing. Those matches continue then into Sunday morning. Pits open back up around 8 o'clock in the morning. And we run another, handful of matches Sunday morning. And then comes a line selection. So if you do well during your matches, you end up on a team it's like a tournament style game that they do. So it's a double elimination tournament bracket that you get paired in. And if we do well in that, we place and get lots of points, and if we do well in 2 competitions, we go on and on. A couple things to note, pits close at 8 p.m., so it's a very long day. We will probably be there well before 8, and then staying probably right until the pits are closed, if not a little bit later. So be prepared for a long day. We do have lunch and things that are going to be provided for the students. Parents, you're on your own for lunch. They do have concession stands at the competition. I looked at the menu. It's not great. There's pizza, and I think pizza. So if you like pizza, you're good. Other than that, you're going to have to probably go out and find something to eat on your own. Let's see. No noisemakers, too. That's another thing I forgot to mention. Don't bring bullhorns or cowbells or things like that. You can use your voices. That's about it. In your hands. One note on the pit area. So we will have an area where our robot goes in between matches where we fix things that break, tune things up. We are going to be pretty strict about who is coming in and out of pits this year. It got a little congested last year during certain times. So as of right now, it's the 2 coaches will be around and be allowed in to help out. If we need extra hands, we will ask for them. Other than that, it's the pit crew. So we have a pit crew where we'll be identifying a pit crew that will be working on the robot. The drive team's allowed in there to obviously transport the robot in and out. If we need extra hands, they will be asked for. Otherwise, give them their space because there's not a lot of room. It's just a 10 by 10 little box that we're working in with a lot of tools and a lot of things going on. So we want to be respectful of the students and give them their space to do their thing. And we really let the students do their thing at these competitions. We try to stay out of their way. They're off and running, and they do a very good job at it. If you do want to go into the pit area, you're allowed. You can go in and look around, because there's lots of other robots. There's cool stuff to see. You can get swag from the other teams. You do need safety glasses to go in there, and you have to have closed-toed shoes. So if you're... And a student escort, yes. You have to come in with a student. So if you're going to wear sandals, you won't be allowed in. And if you need safety glasses, you'll have to get with your student to run in and get you a pair of safety glasses. We have plenty to share, but you'll need those before you come in. I covered food. And the last thing that I'm going to touch on is kind of some expectations for the weekend. Like I said, it's a long day. It's a long 2 days. And these students, like Mr. Racy said, have been pulling some long hours recently. They're already tired. So one of the big things that First puts on us is called gracious professionalism. I'm going to stress the grace in that statement because these kids are exhausted already. And they're going to be exhausted, and these competitions are full of emotions. And lots of good emotions, but when things go wrong, there's a lot of stress and a lot of down swings in those emotions too. So just remember to be patient. and understanding. Yeah, and we're looking forward to a great time. It's a lot of fun. It's so much fun. For those of you who have never been there, first one I went to, hooked forever. It's an incredible thing to come see. So I'm tired of hearing my own voice.
I find it soothing. You may actually want to bring earplugs because they play, the YMCA and the kids are dancing and the kids are cheering, and it's going to be a small space, so it'll be like sports event loud in there. So if you want to save some hearing or you got some sensitive hearing, bring some earplugs.
My daughter's telling me to get off the stage. She's ready. All right, with that, we'll turn it over to the students. One more time.
Hold on, I've got to reset the presentation.
You got a question? You got a question?
Oh yeah, are there questions? That's a good point.
You said not a lot of room, so you're going in and out. How do you know when to go in? And like,
So there's an
people
app you
help
can download on your phone called the Blue Alliance. And you'll find the Hawkers Prime Robotics team in that app, and it will give you our schedule. Right now, we don't even know what the schedule is. They don't release it till the morning of. So we won't even know who we're paired with, what time we're going until about 9 o'clock Saturday morning. But they load that stuff out to that Blue Alliance app, and it's kind of crazy that that app isn't even technically affiliated with First. It was another robotics team that just built it, and they've been using it. So it works pretty well. It's not always perfect, but you will see, like while we're there, you'll see kids going in and out, and they have schedules posted. You'll see a lot of times there's screens around in the building, and you'll see matches, what's upcoming next.
Are there typically large breaks where you're like leaving and going somewhere else and coming back?
No,
Or are you like
you're there. Like you'll have one decent. It depends on schedule. That's another thing I need to touch on. You just reminded me of. So normally over lunch they try to give you about an hour. That's going to be your biggest break of the day. If matches are running late, they usually cut into that time. So that time will shrink. Usually between matches, you're talking anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, maybe, between matches. Sometimes shorter if they're pressing.
When we call it pit crew, it's
It's
like a race car pit crew.
It's fast. The turnaround is quick.
so you're like chairs and
Yes,
and bring your own chair.
And a lot of times, so when we say no seat saving, you can, depending on the load of people, you can kind of judge. You can stay in the gym and watch matches. But if there's lots of people coming in and looking for seats and stuff, and you're just sitting in there and not really paying attention, you might get up and give
Are
seats.
we bringing like camping chairs or are
No, I think they'll be bleachers, I assume. It's a gymnasium. It's a like a basketball gymnasium that will be in. But you reminded me of something, so thank you. This just came in today that the Chapel Hill High School basketball team won their playoff game yesterday, and they're hosting a playoff game tomorrow or Friday night. So that could impact schedule a little bit. Load-in is going to be a little hectic because there's going to be a basketball game going on while we're trying to load our stuff into the auxiliary gym there.
Oh wow.
So it's going to be interesting for us packing in. That also means that the first crew can't set up the field the night before, or at least not until late. So I think there are some concerns that might extend into Saturday morning, which would take this entire schedule, the one that was up there, and push it out. So things might be running later than we expect them to, but we won't know until First gets stuff set up and lets us know what's happening. But that note just came through today. So hopefully it doesn't have a huge impact, but
So, but really Saturday and Sunday are the only days there'll be anything for like
payments.
family to watch. Like
Yes.
Friday is just,
Friday's just
Get your
loading.
kids there.
Yeah, it's just setting up the pit area and making sure our robot's ready to go.
Very few people come on Friday, not the whole team.
No, it won't be the whole team.
It's
It'll
like
be-
4 or 5.
We'll talk to the kids tomorrow. Yeah, we don't need a ton of people. I know Steve and I will be going to get stuff set up. Normally, I'd say the more hands the merrier, come and help out, but they've told us to try to limit it to just essential personnel because of the basketball.
oh,
But good questions. Thank you for asking.
When we're not in there watching, and obviously pit area is small for the team, will it be a secondary area or tent for like the rest of the crew standing and we should try to grab?
I'm assuming so. So every venue is different. So it all depends on the venue, and I've never been to Chapel Hill High School. I looked at it on the map today, and it's enormous. So I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of room for us to go somewhere.
Right,
I know.
folding chairs where we're not in the bleachers. And
Yeah, I know that there's like a pavilion area outside that's not too far away. I know they're opening up a cafeteria. You're also not supposed to save space in the cafeteria either. Some of this stuff we just have to play by ear. Like we get there, we find a place to set up, we camp out, they tell us to move, we move. Like it all just depends. So look for the purple shirts,
Just bend down.
and we'll just go with the flow a little bit on some of this. Any other questions?
I know Lake County just got a clear bag policy, but is this a first sponsored event that they said anything about?
Yes, so that question, that's a good question. I think Steve answered it the other day. This is a first sponsored event, it's not a WCPSS event, so they do bag checks, but you don't have to have the clear bag stuff. So they will look in your bags if you're bringing backpacks and stuff into the venue. You can bring food in, you're allowed to bring in whatever you want. But yeah, they'll be checking bags. And once you get a bag checked, you're in, you get a badge. If you leave and come back in, you have to get your bag checked again. They'll look at it every time you come in, so just be forewarned on that. Good questions, though. Thank you.
Tickets? Is there a?
You don't have to, okay, another good question. I think I sent the link out on, I put a post on Van about pre-ordering tickets. So for mentors, if you got signed up, mentors will have a badge waiting for them. You don't need to do anything. You'll have a badge there for you. So for you don't need a ticket. For everyone else, there is a link on Band right now for you to go out and sign up for a ticket in advance. That just helps them with attendance numbers to know what to plan for. It's not required. It is also a free event. You don't have to pay to get into this. You can show up and just come in, and they'll end up giving you a badge to come in. So, but they do like you to pre-register if you can, just so they know numbers. Awesome. All right. You don't need to clap for me.
Hi, I'm Kaylin. I'm Kaylin Olstrogi. I'm the president of the Hotchkiss Bryanville team. I'd like to thank everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Dad, for stalling. I'd like to welcome you guys all to the 2024 Robot Wheel. The last few weeks have been a bunch of nerds coming together, fueled by pizza, armed with duct tape, and some seriously big dreams. From brainstorming in our high-tech lab, aka the school's build room, to testing our craziest ideas at 11 o'clock at night, we've been through it all. Nathan, please cut the lights. We have him on the phone, but apparently he's not responding. Okay, lights it is. Apologies. I'd like to take a moment to talk about our robotics team and all the amazing work that we've been doing over the past several weeks. It's no secret that we've faced some pretty tough challenges, but I've always had, there we go, thank you, Nathan. I've always had complete faith in our team's ability to overcome them. Every team member plays a vital role, bringing valuable qualities to our collective efforts. We've got designers, marketers, strategists, fundraisers, programmers, engineers, and builders, all working together toward a common goal. And I'm so incredibly proud of every member of our team. Next, we're gonna watch the game drop video. So keep
Crescendo, presented by Haas. 2 alliances of 3 teams each compete to score or play notes in 3 different field elements. Amplify their speaker, get on stage, harmonize, and take the spotlight before time runs out. Alliances earn additional rewards for meeting specific scoring thresholds and for cooperating with their opponents. Robots start each match inside their alliance's starting zone and may be preloaded with a note. During the first 15 seconds of the match, robots are autonomous and can be programmed to leave their starting zone, play preloaded notes in their speaker or amp, and collect and play additional notes. During the following 2 minutes and 15 seconds, drivers control their robots. Robots collect notes from human players at their source and play them in their amp and speaker. Each time an alliance plays 2 notes in their amp, the human player can hit a button to amplify their speaker for 10 seconds. Notes played in an amplified speaker are worth more points than those scored in an unamplified speaker. A human player may choose to play a note scored in their amp to cooperate with their opponent. If each alliance plays a note by hitting their cooperation button in the first 45 seconds of teleop, all teams in the match receive a cooperation point, which will influence the team's rank in the tournament. The number of played notes needed for a bonus ranking point is also reduced. Robots are protected from contact by their opponents when at their podium, off the ground, and during the last 20 seconds of the match while in contact with their stage. As time runs out, robots race to get on stage and deliver notes through the flat and into the track. Bonus points are awarded for harmony when robots on stage use the same chain. On-stage robots earn even more points if a human player spotlights the robots on a chain by scoring a note on the chain's corresponding microphone. The alliance that earns the most points wins the match.
Okay, so I know that was a lot of information in a very short amount of time. So if we've got any questions, please ask them now. Yes?
What's the difference between auto, teleop, and endgame?
So during autonomous, you can't control your robot. That's all pre-programmed by our programmers. So it's pretty much autonomous. Teleop, you can control your robots through the game controllers that we have. And then endgame is pretty much teleop, except they play a noise to let you know, hey, there's about 20 seconds of the game left, you might want to go start getting on the stage. Any other questions? Yes.
What parts of the game do you guys feel like is the most important?
We did a lot of analyzing on this, thanks Dad. We've decided that shooting into the speaker, the up thing, is the most important because that does score the most amount of points. Scoring into the amp is the second most important because it can give you that amplification bonus that will give you more points when you do score into the speaker. And then hanging on the chain and the trap are our lowest priorities because we just decided that they were very hard for not very much benefit. Anything else? Yes.
How many notes are you allowed to start with?
You're allowed to start with 1 note in your bot, which brings up another very interesting point. You are only allowed to have 1 note in possession by your bot at all times. So that doesn't matter if you get one stuck in your bot and you're not actually trying to control it. If it's in your bot, you're in possession of it. You can't touch any other notes until you get it off your bot. Anything else? Yes.
Do you pick your own alliances?
No, all of the alliances are pre-chosen, and the interesting thing is that you may be on the same team as somebody one round, and then the next round you're playing against them. So you have to, that's where the gracious professionalism and cooperation comes in, especially the cooperation. You are definitely cheering on everybody at all times, and if somebody has a good robot, there's definitely no hard feelings. You're like, wow, that's an awesome robot. It's a really neat group to be part of. Yes?
How many drivers are there?
there are 2 drivers, kind of. There's one driver that actually drives the wheels of the robot, and then there's a second driver called the manipulator that actually controls the arm of the robot and makes it do those things. Yes.
What's the total duration of each game?
Excuse me?
The total duration of each game. How much time? How long?
Okay. The matches are about 2 minutes?
2.5.
2.5 minutes long, yes. So 15 seconds of autonomous where you can't touch the controllers, and then 2 minutes and 15 seconds where you can. Anything else?
You make it into the playoffs, if
Yes.
you will. Are those alliances predetermined or?
Yes, so if you make it through all of the qualification matches, then the top 6 teams? 8. I couldn't remember if it was 6 or 8. It's been a long one. The top 8 teams get to go onto the floor and then choose 2 other teams to become part of their alliance. And then there's a big bracket system that's double elimination, and whoever wins that wins the whole day. Yes.
What determines the top 8 teams?
So there are these things called ranking points. So the actual points that you score during the match are important, but the person who wins that match gets 2, and if you tie, you get 1 each. And then 2 ranking points, sorry. And then there are certain other things that you can do to get extra ranking points. And then those ranking points determine what place you make overall in the whole event. Yes.
Does it affect your ability to move on to further level competitions?
Kind of. So if you're in those final rounds, then you have a much better chance of going on to the next ones. But technically, those ranking points don't really leave one event. Yes.
There's ranking points and district points. Ranking points stay within your one competition. If you place better in your competition, like this weekend, when you get district points, the more district points you have, the better chance you have to go to a third competition.
Yes, that's a better explanation. Anything else? Alrighty then. Well, we had our couple of people on the team put together this really awesome pipe video.
Lights.
Thank you.
Now presenting the 2024 Optimus Prime Robotics Robot.
Just a minute.
That's also bad.
Big crew, go!
Is it ready?
Now, presenting the 2024 Hopkins Primary Battle Robot. You can have a robot. Is the robot ready, guys? Okay. They said it's ready. Good, this time. Now presenting the 2024 Optimus Prime Robotics Robot Grimlock.
Okay, now we're going to have Cam come and tell you a little bit more about the actual robot, part of the robot. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us during this time.
Yeah, Cam!
So, we have a lot of different systems on this robot this year. It was really challenging to try and fit all this into this small of a chassis, but we managed to do it. First things first, we have a really cool looking arm. So, this allows us to get into the speaker when it's down low, because this half picks up things, this half spits other things out. So when it's down lower, we can shoot up. When it's up like this, we can shoot down into that other thing, the amp. We also have, if you saw the chain to climb on at the end of the match in the game video, we have little hooks here so we can grab onto that chain and then climb up.
I think they look like little T-Rex arms.
Yeah.
And the intake looks like a T-Rex head. Yes, as per Jerry.
It's named Grimlock because of the transformer that looks like a dinosaur. And we also have the ability to move the whole arm structure back and forth. I don't know if it's turned on or not, but what? Yeah, okay. So the arm is turned off right now, or that part of the arm, but that's fine. Pick up a note.
Wait, okay, so. Okay, so we're going to shoot one of these things into the audience. If you catch it, you do get a free t-shirt. If you don't want to risk being hit with the note, you may want to move.
They're soft and spongy. So.
They are soft and spongy. They will not harm anything. But yes, okay.
Excuse me.
Did you have the kids come into the...
I want a free t-shirt.
You want to go stand up?
Okay, so I'd like to, is there any questions, first of all, about the robot? You may have to wave at me, I can't see much, it's very bright. Yes?
What made you, I'm sorry, what's the drivetrain on the robot?
Okay, so in FIRST Robotics, there's lots of different types of drivetrain. The older style ones are like kind of drive like a tank. You have just wheels on either side that go forward and backward, so it kind of drives like a tank. This is called Swerve Drive. It's basically got 4 wheels in each corner of the robot. One motor spins the wheel around, so you can, like if you imagine this is a wheel, spins the wheel around like this, and another motor actually rolls it. So you can put the wheels wherever you want them to go and drive in any direction.
You can spin while driving, that's the big.
Wow.
Other questions?
So, how many people operate the robot back there?
Drive team is made up of 3 people. You have one driver, who, at least the way we set it up, we have one person who's actually scooting the robot around the field, one person who's operating the arm shooter combo, and then you have a drive coach. There's also a technician, but they're not involved in the actual movement of the robot around the field.
We're never doing that.
You know how much it weighs?
Yes,
It
we
weighs
do.
108 pounds, which is quite a bit below the 125 pound limit. So,
Yay!
Yay!
I heard something about the robots can't touch each other. How do you prevent them from touching each other when they're spinning around and moving?
that is an interesting rule. So, robots aren't allowed, like if we raise the arm real quick, you can't ram the arm into another robot. There's something called frame perimeter, which is just the outer square of the robot. You're not allowed to stick things into other teams' frame perimeter.
There are certain times during the match where you are not allowed to touch other robots, but during those times, it's normally relatively easy not to touch them because they are protected within their zones, and those aren't zones that the other team is normally going into. So normally, yes, you can run into other bots to your heart's content, hence the bumpers to prevent damage being done. But yes, that is an interesting rule.
So what happens if that does happen? Are there officials or something to?
Penalties.
It
There are
depends on the
referees
sticker.
around the field, and you'll see them on, like staying. There's little podiums and everything. You'll see them waving flags. If they see if they see ram your arm into another robot, that's very bad. So they'll give you a lot of penalties for that. Very not good.
Yes, so if you bump into them while you're in the wrong zone, you might get a penalty, but you can get yellow and red cards, which are the same as in soccer. If you get a yellow card, it's like a warning, and if you get a red card, you are DQ'd. And that would be if we went and shoved this into another robot and started running it, and it destroyed that robot, we would get red card. So, not bad bots.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Yes.
Do you guys use any kind of vision tracking or camera system?
Vision is going to be implemented shortly.
What are you going to use for it?
Raspberry Pi, if you know what that is, it's a little tiny computer and a camera with it.
What kind of camera?
I don't know. That's Nathan. Nathan, what kind of camera is it?
Nathan's not back there. Oh, yeah.
It's just a what? It is a standard Raspberry Pi camera. Tell us about Vision.
So, for Vision, we're using software, open source software called Photon Vision, which will use that camera data to look at. They're basically like QR codes, if you know them, and it'll use that to detect the position of where the robot is on the field. We can use that data to then either speed up or slow down the shooter, so then it can shoot from farther away or closer up, as well as rotate the arm to line up with that.
Trigonometry.
Is it autonomous or do you have to do it yourself?
Kind of a combination of the two. The data that it takes from the camera, it does all by itself. That's what Photon Vision does. But then we have to use that positional data in our code to tell the robot to do what we want it to.
Question over there.
I can't see you, but yes, what is your, oh, hi, yes.
Any use of AI in the robot design? Or?
Nathan, you want to talk about AI?
You did the right dancing notes earlier this year.
Nathan, come over here.
I believe
Dragon
we
Tackle,
do use AI assistance in some of our coding, but most of it is done by us. Is that accurate? Do we use Never mind, we use no AI.
Yeah.
I was wrong. I didn't use that to write my speech.
A question.
How'd you come up with the electronics board design?
Combination of looking at other teams' designs and adapting them to ours and trial and error.
How does ours work?
Ours is just, you have the bottom of the robot, it's called the belly pan, and you have sheets of polycarbonate on the sides. So we have all of our electronics kind of attached and organized to each of those sheets of polycarbonate and strap down wire.
So to clarify, it's not just the beginning of the match. What happens in that first beginning of the match?
The autonomous?
Yeah.
Autonomous is
Can you explain that more?
It's for the first 15 seconds of the match, and we essentially have to write code for the robot to move itself on its own, target by itself, basically achieve different goals by itself with no human input. You just press go and it does stuff. Question?
Does the red light do anything? Like, does it tell you that's on or off?
The one right here?
Yeah.
This is called an RSL, a robot signal light. If it's flashing, that means it's engaged and could harm you. If it is on but not flashing, that means it is powered on but not engaged with the code, meaning you can't make it move. And then if it is off, that means it's not connected to the computer.
Off, enabled, disabled. 3 options.
Yep. So if you ever hear, if you're ever like in the pits or around code, and when we're doing it and you hear enabled, that means step away from it.
Also beware of other teams doing the same thing. There are many robots. Another question.
What happens when a robot starts smoking on the field?
Not good.
You grab the fire extinguisher really fast. And you hope it didn't burn too much.
Anything else? If you are in the back
Do I
and
see a
maybe
hand up?
yell it. I can't
Hand
see.
over here.
Yes, I can't see.
Ooh, so Swerve Drive, which is our drivetrain this year. There's different types of gears you can put in it for different speeds. Last year we had level 1 or L1. This year we have level 3 or L3. 15 feet per second.
Yes,
of
15 feet per
speeding
second.
around.
Close to 10 miles an hour.
Doesn't sound like much, but it's pretty quick.
You want to race it?
I prefer not to in case I want to do.
Post season.
108 pounds going that quick might hurt.
Were you focused on torque or speed?
A little bit of both. The speed is going to be really essential. Speed is actually really good because, okay, I don't know if they're saying something, but speed is really good because if you watch matches with Swerve Drive, if you have enough speed, you don't really need that much torque because you can just drive around your opponents and you don't need to push them.
How long did a battery last?
One match.
Yeah, one match.
They're essentially dead by the time of the match. They're not lithium batteries like you have in your phones or electric cars or anything. Sealed lead acid battery, it's just a car battery. The power off, but yeah.
Should we power it off the other way?
Don't need to do that.
No, we don't. It's.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
We can do a tour later.
Never mind. It's a big battery. It's heavy.
Are there any restrictions on how far out that arm can move?
Yes.
4 feet.
The arm can go, you have your height limit of 4 feet, and you can go, remember that frame perimeter I was talking about? That's the metal outside your robot, not counting the bumpers. And then you can go 1 foot past your metal, but not, your bumpers aren't your frame perimeter, it's actually further inside. So you can go 1 foot past your metal, and that is it, no more.
So, what different, I gotta think of how to say it. It sounds like you have some engineering, and what other types of skills were involved in this robot?
All of them.
All of them. That's the best way to put it. Because there's so many different systems on this thing. There's so many different, like, you have to do business for fundraising, you have to do
Lots of money.
events.
How much does an average bot cost? Not this one.
This
Average one, not this one.
average, probably like 12 grand.
12 grand?
More.
More.
So,
15
very
grand.
expensive.
Not counting Mr. Racy's time.
Not counting Mr. Racy's time.
Consideration for
Or very generous donations.
for the polycarbonate.
Many thousands of dollars. Question.
When you build it, what drove you to using polycarbonate instead of say aluminum sheeting or something like
It's lighter and flexible.
Aluminum will, the nice thing about the polycarbonate we have, it's really strong, but it's also a little bit lighter than aluminum, and it's easier to machine on the CNC machine, and when it takes a hit, it won't bend, it'll wiggle a little bit, and it'll go back to where we planned on it being, so. Good for the intake, which like, if it gets hit outside of the thing, if it was aluminum, it might bend, and then your whole thing is bent, and it's not gonna be where you want it to be. If it's polycarbonate, it'll, it'll wobble a little bit, but it won't bend, which is nice. A question?
You made it to Worlds last year. What did you learn from last year to improve this year?
Many lessons. Last year,
Let's not go there.
No, let's go there.
Lots of design lessons were learned last year.
Are you excited?
Very.
White.
What's the next 2 days look like for you guys? You got build, like,
No
there. What do you got, what's on the list to get you there?
Figuring out how to climb the
Not
chain.
the worlds, your competition is only a couple days away.
Um,
Got it alive.
Climbing the chain, making sure that we have that intake thing set up, running autonomous, testing the code, hacking, trying to sneak a couple hours of sleep in there somewhere.
Vision system?
Lots. Vision system, yes. Lots of things. All of things.
A question?
From takeoff to the robot as it is now, what processes did you go through?
Lots of engineering. We'll get like a team of engineers together, and we'll just bounce ideas around, back and forth, pick them apart, see which ones we like best, which ones work, which one won't work. Lots of prototyping, as you heard Gracie talk about. It was, we had a stack of boards for intake prototypes like this high. So
We learned about a fun thing called the Q analysis this year. That was fun. I used a lot of colored whiteboard markers.
What is this analysis you talk about?
it's we come up with a bunch of different ideas, throw them in a grid, and evaluate them with a point system. And by the time you get through to the end, every single design or idea that you've come up with has a point value associated with it based on how we rate it. It allows us to incorporate like different weights on what we value in a design more. Like if we liked weight more than the cost of the thing, then a better score in the weight category would earn the design more points at the end. So just a relatively simple way for us to solve a complicated issue and rate different designs.
I'm gonna cut in for 2 seconds here. I would like to say, because you guys didn't get to see the robot before they brought it out, and I like to hear myself talk, like Gracie said. They did so much problem solving on this. If you'd have gotten to see these kids in action, it was really incredible. They faced so many challenges. Just right before, like we were saying, we literally did burn up a motor right before we brought it in here. And the CAM and pit crew replaced that motor and got it in here in about 15 minutes. So their ability to problem solve and overcome the challenges they faced, it's so fun to watch. Very creative group of kids. So, are there any other questions? Real quick ones? I think we need to keep moving.
Yeah, well. So if there are any technical glitches during this event, will there be, how you handle it?
So,
will there be any given time to you to fix it during that time?
Between the matches, like we were saying, like it's like 15 minutes. It depends on the severity of the failure.
You part of that.
Yeah, like if you have a major failure, like your robot goes up in flames, you're probably not going to be able to fix that. But a lot of the times what breaks is small stuff, and that's where the pit crew comes in. You run in there, switch whatever your part is for a spare part, and send it back out for the field.
The other really nice thing about being in those FRC competitions is that if your bot was to go up in flames, you'll see other teams run to your pit, say, what can we do? We saw that you're struggling, what can we do? What can we do to help? What parts do you need? Can we help you in any way, shape, or form? And it's a really cool environment to be a part of, just to know that everybody in that room has your back, regardless of whether they were playing with you or against you.
So are there any penalties for minor issues?
No.
Like the robot breaking?
Yeah, something like that.
If your robot breaks, your robot breaks. There's no penalties. As long as you're not breaking other robots, you're good.
Also, if your robot becomes a danger, there's a fun thing called an e-stop, an emergency stop, and they'll hit that, and then your bot just, no
So if you start trying to shoot game pieces into the crowd, they will turn your robot off.
Or kill each other. Anything else? All right, well, I just want to say thank you guys so much. Thank you to our parents, our sponsors, our mentors, our coaches. And then I'd like to get the whole team on here to take some pictures and just say hello. Come on to the stage, please. Yes.
I'm gonna walk up into the pictures. It's loud. We'll also have you come up and look at the robot too, so you can disable, you can look at it, take a look at what's actually inside this thing. It's pretty awesome.
1, 2, 3, say Grimlock! Grimlock! Say, what time is it? What time is it?
Prime time! It's really 7:04. We're in 4 minutes over. No, we had until 7:30. Right, it's 7:30. We're on schedule time. Actually, no, we're early. We're early! Yay! Finally! That's what it is. So cool. My legs are asleep. If you guys have any more questions,
Seems like it's way faster than 10 miles an hour. I love the purple. It does look like it has.
You guys want to come up and take a look at it? You can.
Yeah, come on.
Jump over.
Oh wait, that's good.
You want to kill the speed?
What?
You want to kill the feed?
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it. I'm just.